Today we're going to be speaking about inferiority complex. Now, I do have an inferiority complex because I'm not even sure how to say this word. Inferiority. I was practicing before the video. I told you before I'm a perfectionist. Let's unpack this. I always like to give credit where credit is due. Inferiority complex was described by Alfred Adler in the beginning of the 20th century. So a while back. It's been going on for a while. Now, we all have self-doubt. It waxes and wanes. But the difference here is that this, present most of the time, it can really impact our relationships, how we do with work, and how we feel about ourselves. Now, self-doubt doesn't happen overnight. There's reasons for it. It's usually one scenario after another, and it all adds up. According to the American Psychological Association, self-esteem has to do with either real or perceived feelings of weaknesses. Now, notice the word perceived. It doesn't mean that it's actually occurring, but it's your perception of it. So why does it happen? Adler describes striving for superiority. How do we do that? We compare ourselves, comparison. Now, it is normal to compare ourselves, and studies have shown that when we compare ourselves, it can actually be beneficial because it motivates us. But again, when it becomes a problem, when we're comparing ourselves and our thoughts lead to self-doubt, a feeling of being inferior to others, and this doesn't become waxing and waning, this becomes a norm for us. You could see how it really impacts our lives. What happens when we have feelings of self-doubt? We cope in a healthy manner, and we know that this is a moment in time and that this will pass. But inferiority complex, it can lead to withdrawal, it can lead to anxiety, and it can also lead to aggression. This feeling of self-doubt, this feeling of being inferior, it hijacks us, hijacks our thoughts, and we live in fear and shame. Psychologist John Bradshaw has written extensively on shame. It's these internal messages that we send to ourselves. He does mention households, how we grow up. If we lived in a household where we felt like we had to look a certain way, get certain grades, always be on our best behavior, be obedient, because if we weren't recognized, we weren't loved. So our love wasn't unconditional. It was conditioned. It was conditioned on these factors of always being better, having to be the best that we can possibly be. And that's not normal. So what happens is that we develop this inner critic, the one that we hear, the one that gives us negative thoughts. And it becomes a mental loop for some of us. Again, rather than waxing and waning, happening once in a while where we deal with it, it becomes our default settings. This is what we default to. It's that mental loop. I try, I fail, I'm not good enough, and it starts all over again. Society and our culture also has high expectations. Think about social media. What do we see? We see the perfect job, the perfect vacation, the perfect car, the perfect life, and it makes some of us feel very inferior. I do try to limit my time on social media. I've been guilty of this as well. I look at so-and-so and I'm like, I'm not as far ahead as that person. But we each have our own path. We're each going to go at our own pace. I'm better at something. Somebody else is better at something else. That's just how it is. Psychologist Leanne Festinger did a fair amount of work in this. I can put it in the show notes. You could talk about social comparison. He speaks about social comparison. If you live in an environment where there's a lot of self-driven people, a lot of competition, you are more likely to have inferiority complex because it's the perception, that external validation that we always have to achieve. Everyone else around me is achieving. Everyone else around me is getting ahead, maybe running the rat race, and I have to do that too. We mentioned childhood. Attachment theory, described by John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, offers another lens. There's different types of attachments. It could be anxious, it could be avoidant, it could be disorganized. But in each of these scenarios, it's inconsistent. Again, that's that conditional love. I'm not lovable unless I perform to a certain degree. So what happens? A lot of us become people pleasers. We want to please those around us so that we get attention, so we feel loved. And you can see as we grow up to be adults, how people pleasing could be, it leads to burnout, right? It's very hard to please everybody. It's not possible. And when we do this, we give a lot of ourselves, again, leading to burnout. What about if you were a child and you were bullied? that also has been shown to lead to inferiority complex, right? We want to feel loved. We want to be accepted. And when we're bullied or we're pushed away, that also can lead to feelings of self-doubt that can impact our life. The failure that we spoke about, in my last video, I spoke about failure and how that can actually help us with success ultimately, because we learn from failure. Carol Dweck talks about the growth mindset. In every failure, just about you will learn something. But those constant failures, for some of us, can push us down and keep us down. Rather than saying, I failed, I'm going to try again. It's going to be different next time. And this is how I'm going to do it. A, B, and C. Perfectionism. I mention it in just about all of my videos. That too can lead to inferiority complex. We overcompensate. It has to be perfect. If it's not perfect, we're not loved. If we're not perfect, people aren't going to like it. People aren't going to like us. So we try to be flawless. But we're human. This is described by Brené Brown. Perfectionism becomes a shield. We don't want to be judged. We don't want to be blamed. And we certainly don't want any shame. So how does this impact our relationships? Feelings of unworthiness, feeling of self-doubt lead to mistrust. We may withdraw because we don't want to feel rejected. So you could see how you could be in a relationship, you have self-doubt, you need that validation that somebody likes you, they care for you. And that other person, it could actually push them away. That feeling that they constantly have to validate their feelings if they're going to be with you. And that becomes our deepest fear, that we like somebody so much, they're going to leave us, but we're actually pushing them away. It's a form of self-sabotage. It's a form of self-sabotage. The CDC and Kaiser Permanente, they describe ACEs, or otherwise known as adverse childhood experiences. Being told that you're not good enough, being abused. As adults, poor mental health outcomes, high depression, high anxiety, high risk of feeling unworthy and having self-doubt. So how do you fix this? Number one, you become aware. It's what you're doing right now. You're listening to a video. Journal. You can journal each day or when these feelings of self-doubt come up. What's causing it? Think back to maybe where it started. When did you have feelings of self-doubt? Has it always been there? Did it happen at a certain time? Again, like I said, it's not usually just one incident. It's that feeling over and over again of self-doubt, doubting yourself, maybe being exposed to criticism, as we mentioned. Ask yourself, do I need validation? How often do I need it? Is it constant with my relationships, with my job? Do I feel like I'm going to get fired every day, once a week, once a month? Do you take those opportunities to grow? Do you take those challenges, or do you avoid them because you're afraid you're going to fail? You're not worthy, you're not good enough, you have a lot of self-doubt, and you don't want to put yourself in that predicament. What about when you achieve something? Does it feel comfortable for you to accept that? Does it feel comfortable for you to take a compliment from somebody? Or do you downplay it? That's another way to recognize inferiority complex. How about when you look at others? Are they so far ahead of you? There are going to be people so far ahead of us. That's how it is. But everybody, majority of people, absolutely not. So work with this. You may want to get yourself a therapist. As I mentioned, journaling, work with that inner critic. I did a whole nother article. I have a blog, Power of Peacefulness, so make sure that you check that out. I also have a workbook that you can download, bringing peacefulness into our lives. It helps with all of this. But back to the therapist. Cognitive behavioral therapy has been shown to help. Reframing. When I talk about reframing, what I mean is rather than saying, I failed, I am a failure. No, you failed, you learned something, and you're going to move on. Kristen Neff talks about having self-compassion when we fail, when we mess up. It's part of human nature. We're human. We're going to mess up. We're going to make mistakes. So having grace with yourself and speaking to yourself as you would a friend. So she talks about mindfulness, being mindful of the feelings that you're having, self-kindness, speaking to yourself kindly, and common humanity, knowing that everybody makes mistakes. It's part of being human. Reward yourself for the wins. You're going to start trying things, small scale, but trying, right? It's how we succeed. It's how we grow. We start to try. We have to try in order to succeed. So we're going to start to try. We're going to celebrate those wins along the way. Journal about them, tell people about them, be positive, Listen to that self-talk. Be proud of yourself. And again, tell others. Because when you share with others, it sends a message out. You have self-respect. You have self-compassion for yourself. And you're proud of your achievements. About those people pleasers, learn to say no. The more you do the people pleasing, less time for yourself, more chance of burnout. What happens? You start getting tired. You become resentful. So we want to avoid that from the beginning. Do the things that you want to do. Do the things that will help you get ahead. But say no to the things that are going to keep you stuck, the things that you just don't want to do. Be honest. You don't have to tell them all, but a simple no works. Be honest with yourself, though. Is this how you want to spend your time? And if not, you say no. Be careful of the circle that you surround yourself with. They can really make a difference. And whether you feel supported, that inner critic, they can help with that. They can be like, what are you talking about? Why do you feel that way? Nobody wants to surround themselves with people that are very critical. If they put you down, we don't have time for that. Widen your circle and include the people that are going to be supportive. Daily affirmations can help. If you feel like you're falling behind in work, know that you bring value to your team and say it. I bring value to my team. Wake up. Do a little post-it on your mirror. Put little signs on your computer. Those affirmations, as silly it may sound, actually do make a difference. Again, it's what you're surrounding yourself with. And one of the things I do want to mention is that people with inferiority complex, we feel like we have to do it all. So what happens with that? We do too much. And when we do too much, we get burnt out. So you may want to consider asking for help, delegating. If you have a business, virtual assistant, they can help you with your inbox. They can help you with callbacks. They can help manage your calendar. Same thing with household chores, shopping, picking up the kids, driving them here and there, helping with homework. All of these things have to be done. But when we have this inferior complex, we feel like we have to do it all. We have to prove to ourselves and others that we can do it all. We can't. Again, we're human. We're going to make mistakes. And the more you do, the more thinned out we are, the more tired we are, the more mistakes that we're going to make. And again, it's that cycle of, I made a mistake, I'm a failure, I'm not good enough. So don't do that to yourself. I hope that this video has helped bring awareness to what may be going on with your feelings of self-doubt. I don't offer any therapy myself, but I have some links for suggestions in the show notes. Remember to download my workbook, Power of Ness. It'll help bring peace into your lives. I'll see you on another video. This is Sharon McLaughlin, a physician who helps professional women bring peacefulness into their lives.